Arsenal set their sights on Portuguese scoring sensation. Manchester City's next manager revealed Pep's successor is already chosen. Fernandes on his way out of Chelsea after a scandal with Maresca. What sparked the fallout? Zidane shocks the world with his next destination. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. We've got all the juiciest details in today's release. Are you ready? Let's kick things off. So it turns out Newcastle United might have been bought by, well, Saudi Arabia itself. Yes, you heard that right. The English Premier League gave the deal the green light back in 2021, believing that the Saudi government wouldn't control the club. But now, leaked emails suggest that the country's crown prince, Mohammed bin Salman, personally had a hand in the acquisition. And that's not something you can just sweep under the rug. Back in the day, Amanda Staveley, the former co-owner of Newcastle, promised everything was above board. Newcastle belongs to Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, a separate entity. But the leaked messages tell a different story, hinting that the purchase only went through with the prince's blessing. And honestly, who ever really believed that the PIF was acting independently? Even a Sunday League fan could see the connection. The Premier League now finds itself backed into a corner. They've kicked things over to an arbitration panel, basically saying, wait a minute, weren't we promised no political interference? The plot thickens because if Newcastle misled the league, the EPL could rethink the entire deal. And let's be real, forcing the Saudi fund to sell the club would be a scandal of biblical proportions. And the repercussions? Oh boy, cancelling the deal could spark a political and financial earthquake. It's not just the Magpies on the line here. The EPL's entire credibility would take a hit. Could the league survive that fallout? Would the British government get involved? All signs point to chaos. Now, what's the league's next move? Probably nothing. The Premier League might just hope this whole thing fades quietly. But let's not kid ourselves. If the arbitration rules against Newcastle, it could change the game for good. The question is, does the league have the guts to go that far? Xabi Alonso is being lined up as Pep Guardiola's potential heir at the Etihad, and it's not just wild speculation. Multiple sources, including The Athletic and El Nacional, suggest City are quietly preparing for life without Pep. Guardiola's current contract runs out in 2025, and while Pep might extend, no one at City is willing to bank everything on that. They've seen enough in football to know you can't wait until the last minute to replace a legend. Alonso's rise at Bayer Leverkusen has been nothing short of spectacular. He took over a sinking ship in 2022, dragging them from 17th in the Bundesliga to Europa League qualification in one season. And just to flex, he followed that up with a Bundesliga German Cup double and an unbeaten domestic season. Not bad for a manager in his first full campaign, eh? But why Alonso, you ask? It's not just the trophies. Alonso's philosophy feels like Guardiola 2.0, possession-based football, swift transitions and tactical sharpness. The two already share a connection from their Bayern Munich days, where Pep saw Alonso's footballing IQ up close. Imagine how smooth the transition would be if Alonso picked up where Pep left off. No drastic system overhauls, no awkward rebuilding phase, just plug-and-play dominance. Pep, for his part, isn't exactly showing his cards. "I love my job," he said after City's last gasp win against Wolves. "But the day I stop loving it, I stop managing, here or anywhere." It sounds like he might stay, but we've heard this song before. Guardiola's a perfectionist, and if the fire fades, he's out. That's why City's board isn't taking chances. So what does this mean for the rest of the Premier League? Arsenal and Liverpool might be sleeping a little less soundly tonight. Alonso has proven he knows how to build a machine, and if he lands at City, the Guardiola era might seamlessly flow into the Alonso era, just when other clubs were hoping to finally catch their breath. Will Pep stay, or will Alonso take the reins? One thing's clear, City are ready for whatever comes next, and if Alonso does arrive, well, good luck, Premier League. Napoli is walking a tightrope with its star winger Khvicha Kvaratskhelia. Contract talks are heating up, and the Serie A champions face a big decision: meet Khvicha's demands or risk losing him to Europe's elite. The Georgian wizard, whose current deal runs until 2027, earns a modest €1.5 million per season. Laughably low for a player of his caliber in today's market. PSG sniffed around last summer, and Premier League clubs are now lurking, ready to swoop if things fall apart. The core issue? Money, of course. Napoli has tabled an offer worth €5 million annually, but Khvicha's camp is holding out for a cool €8 million. A gap like that won't close easily. and club president Aurelio De Laurentiis knows the stakes. If he leaves, we'll adapt. The club's interests come first. De Laurentiis said candidly. For now, no winter exit is on the cards, but next summer, that's a whole different story. Manager Antonio Conte, who initially insisted Kvaratskhelia was untouchable, could find himself singing a different tune if no deal is reached soon. Meanwhile, Real Madrid, Kvicha's dream destination, isn't an option as long as Vinicius Jr. owns that left-wing spot. A Premier League move or a fresh PSG bid looks far more likely. Manchester United scouts even watched him against Empoli last weekend. Coincidence? Hardly. So, what's next for Napoli? Will they loosen the purse strings and pay him the 6 to 8 million euros he's after, possibly attaching a 100 million euro release clause to keep suitors at bay? Or are they destined to lose another star? One thing's clear, Napoli can't afford to let this situation drag on. How much longer will Kvaratskhelia keep dazzling the Maradona faithful before he decides he's better off elsewhere? Or worse, how long until the president pulls the trigger on a sale? Once again, too late but inevitable. The winds of change are blowing through Saudi Arabian football, and they might just carry one of the sport's most enigmatic figures to its shores. Zinedine Zidane, the maestro who orchestrated Real Madrid's Champions League three-peat, is reportedly in talks to take the reins of the Saudi national team, a development that's raising eyebrows across the football world. The vacancy comes after Roberto Mancini's premature departure, with the Italian tactician pocketing a cool €30 million consolation prize on his way out. But for the ambitious Saudi Football Federation, money has never been the issue. It's all about the sparkle, and few shine brighter than Zizou. In Saudi Arabia, we're not just building a team, we're crafting a legacy, a source close to the federation revealed. And who better to architect this transformation than someone who's already turned sporting dreams into reality? The timing is particularly intriguing. While Manchester United's corridors echo with whispers of Ten Hag's uncertain future, and Zidane's name features prominently in their contingency plans, the French legend seems content playing the long game. His prolonged sabbatical speaks volumes about a man who's transcended the traditional coaching carousel. For Zidane, who spent years watching from the sidelines while presumably fielding offers from Europe's elite, the Saudi proposition presents an unexpected twist. It's not the French national team job he's reportedly coveted, but it might just be the perfect sandbox for a tactical genius looking to reimagine his approach. Let's be real, this isn't about adding another line to an already stellar CV. This is about crafting something unique in a landscape where traditional football paradigms are being rewritten daily. The Saudi project, with its blend of ambition and resources, could be the perfect canvas for Zidane's next masterpiece. Will we see the Champions League winner prowling the touchlines of Saudi Arabia's stadiums? Only time will tell. But one thing's certain, in a region where football dreams are increasingly becoming reality, even the most unlikely scenarios deserve serious consideration. Virgil van Dijk, Liverpool's rock at the back, has opened up about ongoing negotiations for a contract extension, and his words sound more like a warning than reassurance. I can say that obviously negotiations are ongoing, but I don't know. We'll see what happens in the future. I am fully focused on Liverpool, Van Dijk told reporters, but the ambiguity in his tone raises more questions than it answers. Doesn't this feel like déjà vu? We've heard similar lines from Mohamed Salah not too long ago when asked about his own future. And what happened next? Salah became the focus of heavy interest from Saudi clubs. Van Dijk's coy language has the same ominous undertones, more "we'll see" than "I'm staying." It's no secret that Saudi Arabia is keen on more than just Salah. Rumors are swirling that their gaze has shifted toward Van Dijk as well. For a 33-year-old defender nearing the twilight of his career, offers like these are hard to ignore. A few more years on Merseyside, or a lavish payday in the desert. When you hit that 35-year mark, the choice becomes less about loyalty and more about maximizing what's left. And let's be honest, if an eye-watering offer lands on the table, can you blame him for taking it? Liverpool can't afford to drag their feet here. Van Dijk isn't just a centre-back. He's the captain, the organizer, the guy who calms the storm. Even if he still has another good season or two in him, the club needs a contingency plan yesterday. Dragging this out until the 11th hour isn't an option. Arne Slot will need someone ready to slot in sooner rather than later. So what happens now? Will Van Dijk stay for one last dance, or will he ride off to the Middle East? Either way, Liverpool better have some names on their shortlist, because waiting until Virgil packs his bags isn't going to cut it. Maybe Slot can squeeze one more year out of him, but beyond that, well, Football waits for no one. Who do you think will wear the armband next if Van Dijk departs? Joshua Zirkzee's Manchester United stint could be over before it even really begins. Just months after the Dutchman's £36.5 million arrival from Bologna, reports from Calcio Mercato suggest the forward already has one foot out the door, eyeing a swift return to Italy. And who's sniffing around? Juventus, with Thiago Motta, the very coach who helped Zirkzee shine in Serie A, keen to reunite with his old striker. The hype around Zirkzee's arrival wasn't unwarranted. The 23-year-old netted 12 goals and added 7 assists for Bologna last season, convincing United to splash the cash and pair him with Erik ten Hag's growing Dutch contingent. But a single goal on his Premier League debut in September now feels like a distant memory. 360 minutes without another goal or assist? Not exactly what the Stretford end envisioned. Yet, can we blame the player alone? United's chaotic form and tactical disarray under Ten Hag haven't exactly created a nurturing environment. Zirkzee, a silky forward who thrives in systems built on patience and flair, looks out of sync in United's more direct, high-tempo approach. Juventus's interest isn't just a wild rumour. Motta knows exactly what he's getting in Zirkzee, a technically gifted forward who fits Serie A's tactical rhythm like a glove. And with Dusan Vlahovic's future in Turin uncertain, the Dutchman could be the perfect successor. AC Milan's decision to cool their interest further clears the path for a Bianconeri move. For Zirkzee, the cultural and tactical comfort of Italy still resonates, and the prospect of reuniting with Motta is enticing. Should United really cut ties so soon? Loaning Zirkzee might solve nothing long-term, especially since money isn't the issue. But keeping an unhappy player rarely ends well. Maybe the real question here is, do United even know how to use him? After all, this is a striker who dances with the ball, not bulldozes through defenders like Rasmus Højlund. As January draws near, one thing is clear. Zirkzee is unlikely to sit idle on the bench. Will United hold on and find a way to unlock his potential, or will they watch him thrive elsewhere, wondering what could have been? The answer might shape more than just his future. It could define Ten Hag's tenure too. Looks like Arsenal are sharpening their sights on a goal machine from Portugal, Victor Gyökeres. The Gunners are reportedly leading the race to sign the Sporting CP striker, who's been tearing it up with 43 goals and 15 assists last season alone. But with a rumoured price tag of £83 million, it's not going to be a stroll through the park. Arsenal spent the last summer window flirting with the idea of bringing in a striker, but ended up going home empty-handed. Now, with another chance looming, Gyökeres has emerged as a top target. Sporting won't be eager to let their Swedish star leave. They'll cash in, sure, but replacing him mid-season? Not exactly ideal. Mikel Arteta, speaking cryptically about potential transfers last month, said, "We're always looking for ways to improve. The right player at the right moment. It's all about timing." Is Gyökeres the one they've been waiting for, or just another name on a long list of potential number 9s? The Swedish striker would certainly fit Arsenal's style, direct, pacey and no nonsense. But the real question, can he replicate those numbers in the Premier League? The Portuguese league is one thing, but facing off with Premier League defenders every week, that's an entirely different beast. The track record of players transitioning from outside Europe's Big Five leagues isn't spotless. Arsenal will hope Gyökeres can be more Bruno Fernandes than João Felix. And there's another wrinkle. At 26, he's not exactly a kid, but this would still be his first crack at a truly elite league. Can Arsenal afford the growing pains? So, what do you think, Gooners? Worth the £83 million punt, or is this another Pepe-level gamble? Gabriel Jesus, nursing his usual knocks, adding some firepower doesn't sound like a bad idea. But is Gyökeres the real deal, or just another flat-track bully? If Arsenal pull the trigger, it could transform their attack or backfire spectacularly. One thing's for sure though, if Gyökeres lands at the Emirates, every cross from Bukayo Saka will be served on a silver platter. Now it's just a question of whether the Swede can feast or flop. Big things were expected from Enzo Fernandez when he rocked up at Stamford Bridge with a €121 million price tag. Chelsea thought they'd hit the jackpot. Rumour has it, Fernandes isn't vibing with head coach Enzo Maresca, complaining that he's not being played where he can do his thing. And instead of bowing to the Argentine's demands, Chelsea's management has reportedly sided with Maresca, sending a clear message. Don't like it? There's the door. Chelsea's bet on the World Cup winner hasn't exactly set the Premier League on fire. Sure, there have been glimpses of class, but nothing close to the hype that came with his arrival. And now, discontent is brewing over tactical disagreements. Fernandes apparently feels he's being wasted outside his preferred role. Maresca, however, isn't bending, leaving the club with a tricky choice: keep the disgruntled star or cut their losses. The rumour mill is swirling with potential suitors, but no specific clubs have been named. Yet, let's be honest, PSG feels like the most logical destination. They love a shiny, expensive addition, and Fernandes might fit the bill as they rebuild their midfield. But would Bayern or another top-tier club cough up what Chelsea will demand for him? Unlikely. The Argentine comes with a hefty fee and a bloated salary expectation that narrows his options. So, what went wrong with Fernandes? Was he just another overpriced gamble in Chelsea's chaotic transfer saga? His time at Stamford Bridge has been more me than magic. Fans hoped for a midfield maestro, but what they got was fine. But not €121 million fine. If Fernandes leaves, it's not the kind of loss that will have Chelsea supporters losing sleep. More like relief that the club can recover some of the absurd cash they threw at Benfica. In the end, it's all about smart business. Fernandes' current market value sits around €80 million on Transfermarkt, but Chelsea will want more than that to save face. The problem? Not many clubs are desperate enough to splash that kind of cash. So will Chelsea manage to offload him before the situation gets uglier? Or are they stuck with an unhappy star they can't afford to bench? One thing's certain, the Blues need to tread carefully. Fernandes' next move could either be a decent payday or a lesson in how not to do transfers.